Oh, amazing. I left the camera out there all night. There it was, standing there all night. And automatically turned itself on as I got up. Amazing technology these days, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, you're looking at the car before I... It's good looking, isn't it? Yeah. 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 Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, really. This now, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah, I've been talking about all along, really. It's called benign insanity. What happens when you're totally alone and like you get nobody to tell you to stop being stupid. Bit messy here, really. Yeah, didn't clean up properly after last night's supper of sausages and that, because I was suddenly got a bit tired and it suddenly got quite cold, and it's quite cold now in the morning and that. So my hand's flipping freezing now because I'll get rid of that. I got this in my pocket. It's not a tea bag. Looks like one. Looks like a giant tea bag. It's actually a hand warmer. It's warm. It's warm in my hand. I got it in my pocket. I opened it in the middle of the night because I was really cold in the tent in the middle of the night. So I opened it and it made absolutely fuck all difference. Yeah. There you go. It's hardly warm. Anyway, better than the poke in the eye with a stick, I always say, don't I? Oh, I'm sorry, there's nobody here. Yeah, yeah, I miss Rob. I would have liked to have done this trip with Rob because we could have got up every morning, talked shit.
When I look in the mirror, I'm not upside down, am I?
No, that's true. How they do that then?
I don't know.
God.
It's an enigma.
That's racist, that is. Every morning, without fail, talk about, you know, the important things of life. It's less effective after.
You won't get the flavour, see?
No, you won't get flavour. You won't get as much. You
Get the flavour.
like, do you prefer tea in a bag with bags or tea without bags? It's important. I mean, it's like life changing, isn't it? You know, or if you're gonna have coffee, are you gonna have an instant coffee, or are you gonna have a pod coffee? These modern newfangled tasteless things. These things here.
33.
Yeah.
In the kangaroo.
They're flipping tasteless. These pods, yeah. Nothing. There's nothing in them. So, yeah. I wonder if this piece that I'm recording now will stay in the film. You will find out just after I find out. Yeah. It's life, isn't it? You never know what's going to happen. It's like what they say in Forrest Pump. She says, "Oh, Forrest, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know whether you're going to get marshmallow or the daisy cream, buttercream, or marzipan. You don't know. You don't know. You know, it's like the great mystery of life." Right. I'm going to make myself some. Yeah, no, definitely coffee. That's almost empty, that is. I hope I got another one somewhere. This is the MSR reactor. It is a jet boil type stove, but it's not a jet boil. It's much faster than the jet boil. But it doesn't have its own clicker. But it is jet fast. It really is good. I love it. I've had it for, this was given to me as a sponsorship product. Now, here's the deal. See, one of the ways my business works is that I will go to a product manufacturer that I really like, and see something that they're making that would fit on a build or something I can use around the camp, like MSR. And this was back in South Africa, and they're a Cape Town distributor. And I said to them, if you give me one, I'll feature it in my show. And we were doing a show then. We're doing Trans-Africa. I can't remember what we were. Anyway, the point is that we then and I put it in the show then, and then I remember later 2013 I put it in the show with Paul Marsh's trip through Botswana. Right, I want to talk about stoves. And while I'm going to do it, I'm going to show off. This is my current favorite product. It's called an MSR reactor, and it is a water boiler. This will boil water very, very quickly. Okay, so I prefer, let's see how long that takes. I prefer small stoves, and I want to be able to choose where I cook.
It gives you a lot of versatility. I mean, we could be cooking in the back of the car, but actually it's really nice outside here.
Yeah, that's right. That's why I don't really particularly like cookers built into trailers or built into setups.
Sure.
I also find that often you've got a group of people, and you'll find the women are gathering around the food, and the men are gathering around the fire. And I'm kind of saying, well, why is that necessary? If the stoves can be moved closer to the fire, there can be one group and everybody cooking together as opposed to separating. That's just the way
No, it's great. It works really well. And if you wanted to get out of the wind or want some shelter, you can move it.
Yeah.
I like the fact that they pack up small.
They look small ones, yeah.
These ones are small, and most people don't use a lot of gas anyway for their trips.
Yeah.
8 days we've used, used one of those.
We've used one of those, and we just opened the second one in 8 days, two of us.
That's actually very, very good. You'd be surprised how little gas you really use.
Yeah. The big heavy ones, prefer these. There you go. There, what did I tell you? There you go. Boiling.
It's a treat in the morning.
Hey, isn't that quick?
And I make the coffee. That is good.
It's a cool toy. And I have used it and mentioned it, not every trip I've done, many trips I've done, I mentioned it. And those guys, the publicity they've got is worth 100 times what the cost to them of this product was. I think the gas is running out. No, it's not. It's just very quiet this morning. You're being very quiet. This is very, very quiet when the gas is low. You can't actually hear it. I had fun last night with a little fire, trying that little fire pot. That was good fun. I'm thinking about releasing these videos per day. So if this is a new video, then that's what... Because my videos are so unstructured, it's very difficult for me to know exactly what to put in where, because if it's a really dull day and I don't really see anything to film, I don't film anything. And yesterday was just turned out interesting because I had a little thing to experiment with, and it was just fun. So there was nice content. And this morning I was woken actually by the sound of my favourite Australian bird, the butcherbird. They weren't particularly close, and then I heard them again a while ago, and they've moved off and they're far away now. It is the most delightsome of all Australia's bird calls, in my view, and it just gives me the I just get this tingle when I hear it. It's just so beautiful, and beautiful sound. Yeah, this gas is running out. This will be its last party, because this thing would have boiled furiously by now had I had a full tank. Anyway, today's the last full bush day. I'll still be in the bush, camping in the bush tonight, and then I start hitting some of the main arterials. There's the big railway line road, so we're going to reach that today. Probably tomorrow. The railway line road, and then follow the railway line road, depending on distance and everything. But we'll have one more bush camp, and then I'll wrap up the series then. I might have to get Another. I think I'm going to get one anyway. So you can hear it. See, almost instant. Almost instant. So quickly it boiled. That's how fast this thing is. Sure, the edge was taken off the water, so it wasn't icy cold, but this thing's marvellous, absolutely marvellous. Before I set off every morning, I activate the tracker, and it now drops a satellite waypoint every 2 hours. And everything that's full, everything's done. Must keep an eye out, look out for that suspension shackle. Keep an eye on it. We can start up. Okay, now got to decide what items are being charged. Because of the new camera position, I cannot charge and run both the GPS and the radio mic and the camera. I can only run 2 of them, and I use this stuff here, this Velcro. It's basically Velcro tape, and because I've got carpet, I can secure cable, so that cable there will no longer see it swinging in the way. So basically I just strap it up like that. Now it's out of the way. Simple as that. So what I'm going to do is, the camera that I'm using now has got 100% charge in it, so it'll last most of the day. That will now power the GPS, and the GPS is now on and running. Warming up cars is a pet peeve of mine. And I've often had situations where, it's not happened in Australia, it used to happen in South Africa a lot, where you'd be in a campsite for the other people around, and then somebody would start their engine half an hour and let it idle for half an hour before setting off. Not understanding that, you know how much damage that does to your engine? It cokes it up. Engines like to get to operating temperature as fast as possible. So, do what I do. 30 seconds is enough warm-up time for your engine. Then drive it normally. You're not racing it, you're not going full power, you're driving it normally. It will get to a operating temperature quickly, and then you can drive it any way you want to. Warming it up is bad for the engine. Right, we are at 382. If we want to do 200 kilometers, we need 582 today. But I'm not going to worry too much about that, because I know the last part of this track, probably in 150 kilometers time, maybe 100, is going to be much faster. High speed is no longer a track, it's actually a gravel road. So I'm not going to worry too much about the 200 and trying to maintain 200. I'll just see how it goes, because the last section is so much faster than the first section. I'm sensing the landscape is starting to change. The low-lying grey bush, typical of the Nullarbor plain, is starting to appear in greater numbers as we are actually approaching the Nullarbor right now. So we'll probably, I think what I would like to do tonight is actually camp in the Nullarbor itself. Now, the last time I did the trip, I went into the Plum Ridge Nature Reserve. I'm thinking this time I'm not going to do that and do a part of the road that I haven't done before to Orlina and actually camp in the Nullarbor. I will only do that though if there's no wind, because it's very open, very sparse. There are no trees, or very few trees, in most of the Nullarbor. So let's see what happens. But that's my aim tonight, is to camp there. This is still part of the Connie-Sue Highway, but it's actually now become a secondary road, which means you'll find road trains on them. You don't find road trains on the tracks, but this is a maintained road. So the challenge is, I really, really hope I don't get behind a road train. The trouble is with them, they kick up so much dust that you cannot see through the dust. And fatalities are not that uncommon. People overtaking a road train, they can't see through the dust. They put on their headlights, but they still can't see anything. And for a moment, they're driving blind. Now, if somebody is coming in the opposite direction because of the dust, won't see them either. So if I see a road train coming in the opposite direction, I slow right down and I pull off. I do not want it. If I can't see through that dust all the way, the dust is blowing off the road, then I don't, no, it's fine. If it's blowing across the road my way, towards me, I will slow right down and I'll actually pull over. Because just maybe there's somebody taking a chance and driving in that dust. if I come, and it's only happened to me a few times, it did happen I remember in the Northern Territory when I did my crossing. It happened once, twice, and I would just stay back out of the dust. I do have a question though. Here's another one. About to pass it now. Yet another one. Wrecks of vehicles. I know I keep pointing my camera at wrecked vehicles. This is, I think, a Holden Jackaroo. I've seen on this trip, I haven't counted, but I reckon I'm well over 100 now of wrecks that I've seen, because I've done long stretches on these arterial high-speed gravel roads. And they're all like this one. Burnt. Why are they burnt? I mean, I've seen some that are obviously have been rolled, and yet they're always burnt. And if there's anybody in Australia who can tell me why they're always burnt, I understand why fires can start, but some of them, no, I don't buy it. They're burnt. I want to know why.
Radio up and the blinds pulled down. You love it when nobody's around. I wanna call out round town, but you bite my lip, don't make a sound. I'll be damned if I'm leaving without you. So give me a minute to catch my breath.
This is my last bush camp of my trip. I will find a camp on my way home, but it's not bush. It's going to be on the side of the road, side of the main road. So by 11 or 12 tomorrow, assuming I leave at 9, I'll be back in on gravel road. I think it's about 300 kilometers to Kalgoorlie from here, give or take. Don't really care exactly how far it is, but it's a nice campsite, and as usual, absolutely no sound at all. No birds, no insects. It sometimes feels quite desolate. Anyway, cheers. It's been a good trip. Gee, I've needed it. Well, not as if my life is so terrible. That it's just that a solo trip helps me to unwind all the coils in my brain about projects and things. And it allows me to breathe and have fun. And doing it solo allows me that total freedom. And I suppose I should really try and do one a year. I've done 2 short ones. A big one was 19. I did a short one in 21, when I think it was 21, or was it 22, when this was finished. I did a test run with this. That was like a 3-day thing. And this is the first big one. Car's going perfectly. Systems are working absolutely perfectly. Apart from the issue with the springs, no issue with the car at all in any way. The last time I did a solo trip of this size was in 19 in a similar area. I also did one in 22 or 21. It was when I did the first test run. It was I think it was a 3-day trip, might have been 4, don't remember, but the very first test run with this troop carrier. And what we do have are the gallards. They're an absolutely charming species of parrot. Hello, boys. It's been running beautifully. It's a beautiful truck. Really just does the job so well. So I'm going to change it. Some of you are probably thinking, are you being ridiculous now? No, well, what's happened is this. Forgive me if I've said this before. I know I've mentioned it to camera before, but I don't know which videos it'll be in. The interior we built was designed by myself and Rob. Rob has moved over to Custom Overland Solutions, and and the idea was to actually build an interior that could be flat packed and sent out and sold, so you could install it yourself. That was the idea, and that part never came about. They built several like this for clients, but they never built the kit idea. And so Rob no longer does troop carrier interiors. He's specialised now in drawer systems and does some beautiful drawer systems for station wagons like Prado, Land Cruiser 200, Land Cruiser 300, etc. And so Heine from Klarman Automotive Solutions is now building interiors for troop carriers. Made out of aluminium, and I've spent the last 6 or so months working with Heine and John, who's drawing it, and we have developed an interior that you'll be able to purchase it and install it yourself, and then it's in modules. You can even buy a pre-wired module. So it's fulfilling that promise. That's what we're trying to do anyway. So the interior of this is being removed completely, and we're literally going to start from scratch and with the interior. I'm a little worried about it because this interior works very, very well. But there are a few little shortcomings which I have applied to the new design that I think will solve. Actually, I think it'll be a lot better, to be honest with you. There'll be a lot more space and a lot more packing space. I'm a bit short of packing space in this one. Better packing space, but it'll tick every box that I require and more from a troopy, and it'll actually give more space inside. It's more efficient space-wise. I'm not changing the suspension, exhaust systems, performance. It's the dog's bollocks, they call it. Absolutely is. Yeah, it's that. Really is good. Gee, the ride is good over these rough roads. Man, it's good. For a leaf-sprung vehicle, wow, it's good. The only thing about this trip that has been a bit of a letdown, to be honest, is that I've been a bit cold at night, sleeping at night. I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm not cozy. You know what I mean? I'm not cold. I'm not shivering. I'm not suffering. I'm just not cozy. You know what I'm saying? So that's with a t-shirt on and a shirt on, which I wear to sleep. My pajamas, and then I change them when I have a shower. Some nights I've even put this on, and I think I'm probably going to do that tonight. And I just haven't been warm, and I can feel there's a light chill in the air already as the wind moves, and I can feel the temperature starting to drop. So it's going to be another cold night tonight. This MOLLE bracket was made for me by Sean at Mission 4x4. It was my idea. I told him what MOLLE was. He didn't know what it was. And I said, you know, it would be fantastic to have a MOLLE here and on both doors to be able to attach bags that have MOLLE straps on them and for mounting. And look what I've managed to do. What Sean did is even better than I had envisaged. He's used the original door holes to mount it, so mounting it is seriously quick. It looks great. It's black powder coated. And because he's put holes between all of the rectangles, that's a 6mm, and you just use a 6mm bolt, and you can now bolt things to it as well. Well done, Sean. That was very good thinking. So now it's even more versatile. And I have got here tent pegs for securing my awning. In here I've got rope. In the top of this I've got some hand warmers in there, and also if I'm building a small fire reflector. In here it's mosquito insect repellent and my headlamp. These are small clips that I actually use them for these insect repellent, and basically I just can screw that in like that, just wedge it in like that, and now I can clamp that anywhere I like, really, and to help keep the mozzies away. These are reasonably effective. That is just strapping. In here I have a lighter. I'm being sent the Zippo version of this, which I'm really looking forward to. Zippo make one. I've been using this to light fires and things on this trip, and it's been nice. I've got a new item. Here is a torch. I can't see it very well with the backlight. Oh yeah, there you go. So this is my, it's called an Olight Seeker 3. That is a, boy, that is a nice torch. That's my main general purpose torch. In fact, I think these are for sale in my shop. There are certainly links in my shop to purchase these things. That's the Seeker 3. I like it very, very much. These are just odd bits and pieces. A lighter, and this is a if you get a mosquito bite, and it gives you a little electric shock right through the mosquito bite and removes the itch instantly. Works really well. Spare battery. That's a little torch device. Little torch if I want some light right there. Or this is a little Army Tech product. It was actually a head torch, but the strap was such poor quality, and yet the light is like a really nice quality. It's rechargeable, and it's also, because it's metal, I can put it anywhere on the metal part of the car. It's not covered in plastic, but you get the picture. It's magnetic, and so you can put it different places. Okay. This, I think I may have mentioned earlier on this trip what this is. It's called a Something Annihilate, and basically is a shovel, but it's also quite a clever kind of great for working with a fire, fantastic for working with a fire. Even when traveling with Gwyn, who likes to cook, and she does a good camp cook, as does Gwyn. She loves it. It wasn't long ago where we did a pork roast in it. A proper pork roast. We had roast potatoes, pork with crackling. Yeah, with crackling. Done on that little thing. So you do need an electrical system suitable to run it, but actually the amount of current it uses. Look, if you're using 200 amp hour even if you're induction cooking, you've got 200 amp hour stored in the thing. Honestly, get yourself a trouble, buddy. You will thank me forever. I need to go and wash my hands before I touch those. What do you think? Look nice, eh? They look very, very nice. I actually preheated the oven. I turned it on about an hour ago at quite a low temperature. To get it to from the low temperature to about 110 110-ish takes quite a long time, and then from 110 upwards doesn't take much time at all. So I set it on low and then turn it on and off from the driver's seat, so I can think, okay, in an hour's time I might need to just turn it on. And sometimes I don't even use it, and then I turn it off. But I especially if I'm driving, obviously the current doesn't make any difference because the alternator's taking care of that. So this car's got too much battery storage actually for my uses, even though I'm doing induction cooking. So I don't really need to worry. But time-wise, yeah, I'll eat in 30 minutes-ish. They'll be good. Some of you might ask, is this Crown land? Private land? Very good chance that it's actually mine land. Given that I drove on, obviously it was a digger type vehicle whose track I followed partly to get here, I would say almost certainly there's some mining going on. And these roads that I've been driving on, the southern section anyway, are actually mine roads. That's why they're there. Otherwise they wouldn't exist. Without the mines they wouldn't exist. And occasionally you see a sign saying mine site and an arrow. I've been listening to some very good audiobooks. I should mention some to you because I know a lot of you also enjoy audiobooks. Let me get my phone and I'll read them to you because they're worth it. Some of them are. Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. What makes very, very successful people different. He's a bit of a sociologist. Then fascinating book, Talking to Strangers, also Malcolm Gladwell. It's extraordinary how insight into how people communicate with each other or fail to communicate with each other. I'll give you a quick example. All right. How good are you, think about this, at discerning truth from false, a lie from truth? Somebody lies to you. How good do you think you are? Pretty good. Most people will think, yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty intuitive. Yeah, I'm pretty intuitive. Most people will. Do you know what the average is? So, given 50% is chance, truth, lie, the average is just 54% correct. Okay, and now they did the same study with judges in New York State. And guess how good the judges were? 54%. They were average. They were absolutely average. They had no additional skills. Then they got a computer, and they did a couple of comparisons with people that have been brought in for arraignment. Okay, basically appear before a judge for arraignment. And the judge has to say, bail, no bail. Lock him up, he's dangerous, she's dangerous, whatever, lock him or her up. Or bail on their own recognizance, they will appear for their trial date and we'll let them go. Guess how good the computer was? The judges were correct about 54% of the time. The computer was correct, I think it was 62% of the time. It was better that the judges don't meet the defendants. Can you believe it? The book is full of this stuff. It's brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I could not put it down. All right. I'm busy with a story called Endurance, the ship Endurance, of course, lost in Antarctica, about Alfred Lansing. That was actually a free book. Okay. And I've just started the book called The Tipping Point. I'm actually going to leave The Tipping Point for my drive home. It's quite a short book. So I'm going to leave The Tipping Point, another Malcolm Gladwell. I'm loving his writing. All right. I have recently finished And On That Bombshell by Richard Porter. Very light-hearted. It's about the Top Gear 3, and he was the script editor. And of course, I'm a massive fan of the original Top Gear and Grand Tour. Massive fan. There is no bigger fan than me of that show. It's probably the only reason why I actually have an Amazon Prime account. Max Hastings, he's a war historian, British war historian. I mentioned him to you before when I've mentioned my audiobooks. I'm listening to one of his now, quite a recent one called On War. It's himself just talking about war. I'm finding it a little bit heavy going, actually. So I think I'm gonna change up a gear. And there's another book that I have to mention to you. Right. Unnatural Causes by Richard Shepherd. He was the senior pathologist in a county of London and became, I think, Britain's chief pathologist. He was, for example, sent to New York to do the pathology on the remains of those British people lost in the 9/11 tragedy. And so he's a big deal when it comes to pathology. But the stories of how people who are dead, the stories they can tell. Extraordinary book, couldn't put it down. Absolutely brilliant. Those are the best ones. I'm going to mention another one here. Windswept and Interesting, the autobiography of Billy Connolly, who's now Sir Billy Connolly. Brilliant. Nemesis, Max Hastings, about the US and Japan conflict. He's a wonderful historian. And one that I will no doubt listen to again. I've listened to it twice. I probably downloaded it 3 or 4 years ago. A Spy Among Friends by Ben McIntyre. It's about the Cambridge Five, the British spies in the 1960s and 70s. It's an extraordinary story, beautifully written, just captivating, and outstanding. So there you go. That's what I've been entertaining myself. I just love to sit on a long open road with a great book. I love it. I hope it's all right with you, me just turning on the camera when I'm doing stuff. I have no idea if you're interested in this or not. We were camped in this area here. We came down here, then we took this road, and this is where I got confused. Well, not so much confused, had to verify my location at that angle change there. That was that angle change there. That there is that there. So we've driven along there. We've gone down there. We've headed south and we've gone south. So we're actually about here. Now there's an additional road which is not on this map. There are a number of roads which are not on this map, but they are on this map. So we are actually now traveling down here. Okay, and if we look at, we're going to be going down here, down there, and then that is the railway line track. So instead of coming down there where I thought we were going to be, we're going to come down there. And then we're going to make a right turn, heading west. And you can see the railway line is marked on the map. All the way to Goldfields Highway, Great Eastern Highway, and that is the town of Kalgoorlie, Boulder. For those of you who don't know, many of you do, is that when I'm on a trip like this, I carry this. It's an iridium yellow brick, and every 2 hours it drops a pin, basically takes a satellite fix of my location, speed and direction, and posts it directly to my website. It does it live. So if you had to go in right this very second, you would see me here. You would see the location here, because this has dropped a pin. And so, but if you go in now, now watching the video, because you've watched the video, this is 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So at any time, you can actually say, I wonder what Andrew's doing now, if he's on a trip or not. And you can just go into forexoverland.com, look on the homepage, and it says, where is Andrew now? Or something like that. It's right in the middle of the homepage, and you click on that, and it gets, and it's, I think now there are 16 or 17 trips that I've done since 2018 when I got this. So all the trips I've done of any significance are included on that list, and that's that very, very clever little thing. So go in and see where I am right now. I'm probably at home, but if you went right now, you understand what I'm saying. It's possible. You know, as I get older, these trips, I think, mean more and more to me, because I'm aware that my time is finite. And when you're young and building your life, and then you're middle-aged, the danger is middle age, where you just settle and cruise in the same direction. To where? Because eventually you hit, I don't consider myself old age. I'm not old age. I'm not an old age pensioner. I'm not on pension. I work full time, and I intend to work full time for a long time. I'm not going to retire. Not the kind of guy that retires. But at the same time, I realize that this what I'm doing now, the risks of doing solo trips in such remote areas. There's a time, and I don't know, I look at it and say to myself, there is going to be a time, and we know that, I know this. This is not, well, there might be. There will be a time in the future where I look back and I watch all my films, wishing I could do it again, knowing that I will never be able to do it again because of old age. Also, injury. You know, when somebody says, oh, will you go and they mention ladder, I basically say, I don't climb ladders. I don't. Get up on the roof and I don't get onto roofs. I could, but I don't. People like me, my age, I won't spend the $200 to get somebody to come and fix the tile on the roof. I'll do it myself. End up in bad shape because something goes wrong and they fall off the roof. You know, it's when you get old, you have to actually admit it and say, yeah, I'm getting on. Mitigate the risks. Sort the risks out. I don't consider this high risk at my age because I'm very healthy. I don't even know the name of my GP. I don't have a GP. The only time I ever go to the doctor is to get some strong antihistamine medication because at the height of spring I suffer from hay fever, and that's the sum total of it. So I don't think this is risky. But there will be a point where it is risky. And I know it. I can see it. There it is. So trips like this, I really live in the moment. I really, really do. I really, really do. And you should do. You should as well. And those amazing moments that you have with your family. You know those moments that you just are so happy to be with your family because they're such a joy and they uplift you, and they, you know, those moments. If you're lucky, like I am, you will have, and there's nothing extraordinary and unusual about it, you will have those moments with your family. I'm extremely lucky in that all of my children live within 20 minutes of my home, and I see them all every week, except when I go on a trip like this. But I'm very lucky. But when you have the family gatherings, when you live in the moment, get off your phones! Get off your phones! Man, how many people throw precious moments away that can never be repeated, and there's a limited supply. There's a limited supply, and you're throwing them away because you're on your phone. I look at this and I think to myself, it's a tragedy that the phones have given us so much and yet taken so much away. Anyway, so for me, the phone is fantastic in that it gives me audiobooks that I can listen to in the car. Endless supply of audiobooks. I'm reading in my head. I'm reading other people's thoughts, other people's inspiration. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. But to be sucked in to things like Instagram again and again, Instagram Reels. I mean, I live on social media because that's my job. I don't do the social media posts. I hire somebody to do them for me. So I don't have to. And besides, they do a much better job than I do anyway. But get off your phones. Anyway, my pies are almost ready, but I'm not quite ready here yet. I'll wait 20-30 minutes. They're almost done, but I've turned the little travel buddy. Turned it down. Did you hear that? No, nor did I. It was nothing. No, there's no sound. There's no sound. There's no wind. Not a breath of wind. And it's actually really dark, although you're seeing me because the camera's very clever. It's actually really dark. The trees against the thing are beautiful. And fantastic sunset through the trees. Well, surprise, surprise. I woke up at 2 in the morning. Cold. Really cold. By far the coldest night. And I decided to... I'm a long day's drive from my home. It's 10 to 12 hours driving time, so I thought, well, let's do 2 hours now at night, and then when I get tired, when I feel like sleeping, pull over, pop the tent, jump in, catch a couple of hours, and by doing that, getting a couple of hours in at night, I will be, it'll make my day's drive a little easier. So I want to thank everybody for watching this little mini series of mine. I've had so much fun making it. It's been brilliant. It's been 1 week exactly. By the time I get home, actually 1 week and 1 day, 8 days by the time I get home. And so this from my home just north of Perth is absolutely doable if you've got a week to take off. This is a brilliant trip. You get to see the nothingness of this part of Western Australia, which is what I love so much. Chunk of the Gibson Desert, and just the solitude, the absolute solitude of of this part of the country. Absolutely love it. Lastly, a quick shout out to look at these lights, Sentinel lights. They're remarkable. They give both range and spread in one light, so you don't get any point of light, you don't get a point of the beam. It's just an even spread. I'm getting a range of, I don't know, I think the range of a light is far less important than the comfort. I'm getting fantastic range. 300, 400 meters. Who needs a kilometer, really? But it's so comfortable on the eyes. And it's just giving me this wall of light. I'm very impressed with them. So thanks to those guys at Laser that sent me the lights. They did donate them, and as a trial, and I knocked out. Very, very impressive. Anyway, guys, thanks again. Remember to like and share the channel with others. Oh, a big owl. Share the channel with others. Let people know if you like the channel. Let other people know. Help the channel grow. See you next time.